Could somebody sign me up for that marketing job that starts at 10:30 in the morning in Paris, apparently? Yeah, I guess there's like companies that just lock the doors until 10:30. Like employees cannot work until 10:30 in the morning. So I didn't even know that that existed, but apparently it does. So, you know, any takers? I'm here. I've got experience. You could catch me on LinkedIn. I'm free. Free as a bird. Emily, quit fucking with us. That's not true. Salut tout le monde! Welcome back to Unintentionally Frenchified. Today we're talking about a show called Emily in Paris. If you haven't seen it, it is a show on Netflix, and it is about a girl from Chicago who moves to Paris for work. Pretty much my life story in a nutshell. And it's from the creator of Sex and the City. So Emily does tend to have some pretty killer outfits that you can check out. But when it comes to depicting life here in Paris, if I'm being truthful, it is downright exaggerated and pretty stereotypical and wrong. Now, while I do not regret watching any single moment of this show, I feel like it is my duty to squash some of the stereotypical French things that she did in the show. So if you're ready, c'est parti. Emily moves into a one-bedroom, 60-meter squared chambre de bonne. If you don't know what a chambre de bonne is, it is literally the rooms at the top of buildings, like on the 6th or 7th floors, where families used to house when they owned the entire building, their hired help. So today, a chambre de bonne is usually occupied by a student, and it's about 9 meters squared. It's the size of a dorm room. It has like one bed. You're lucky if there's like a place to put your clothes. Maybe the kitchen is like a microwave and a little hot pad. And usually the toilets are outside and shared with other people in other chambre de bonne. Okay, you get what I'm saying? It's a student vibe. And it's not a luxury vibe. Well, Emily has a 60-meter squared chambre de bonne. Guys, 60-meter squared, even a one bedroom in Paris, is a frackin' luxury. And they present it like, grab your stuff and walk up the stairs where there's no elevator and you're gonna be living in your chambre de bonne with your amazing view on all of Paris and your big frickin' bedroom. Okay, Emily arrives in Paris not speaking a word of French. Now, it's not a crime to arrive somewhere and not yet know the language. However, Emily walks around yelling, and yes, she's yelling because in the US we scream, I admit, and she's yelling at everyone in English, and almost everybody is speaking back to her in perfect English. Now, Paris is a city full of tourists, so most people speak basic English. But everybody's answering in these very complex, having full-on conversations, debate, discussions, using vocabulary that I don't even know. Let's get one thing straight here. The French have a lot of qualities, and they're very good at a lot of things. But one thing they're not good at is learning second languages. Now, of course, they are strides ahead of the US, but when it comes to Europe, they're known as being a country that's just not getting it as fast as everybody else. So when Emily walks around kind of living her English-speaking life almost everywhere, it tends to come off as just a little bit not true. So please, Emily's giving a little bit of false hope here. If you're going to be moving to France, I highly recommend learning French. Which brings me to the sponsor of this video today, Lingoda. Lingoda is an online language school that I have been talking to you guys about for a while now because I am learning Spanish with them. Hola, YouTube. And because I am in love with their super kind and patient language teachers, and as a full-time mother and full-time marketer and full-time hustler on Unintentionally Frenchified, I love the fact that the classes are 24/7, so flexible. But today's shout out is brand spanking new, so I know you haven't heard about this really cool new challenge that they just launched. It's called the Lingoda Team Challenge. Yes, you heard me right. You can actually create teams now and get motivated. You can sign up individually like always, but you can also sign up with up to 12 friends, and you can choose to either do the challenge or If you're feeling especially motivated, the super challenge. And there are prizes to be won. As an American, I obviously love everything that's competition and everything that's free prizes. The top 10 teams actually win prizes, and the top winner wins a trip to a European capital. Who wants to come visit me in Paris? And because it doesn't just end there, if you finish 100% of your classes, Lingoda will donate 20% of your classes back to people in need via their scholarship fund. If the words friends, prizes, and giving back don't get you motivated to learn French, then I don't really know what will. And that just means you're going to be like Emily, coming here and not speaking a word. So, to wrap it up, important information if this team challenge has piqued your interest a bit. I've got a special name key. If you add in when you're signing up, it actually gives you 10 euros off every single team member that you recruit. Use my name key to get that 10 euros off. Make sure all your team members have signed up by November 1st, and then everyone's got 63 days to finish a 7-week challenge or up until December 20th. You can find all the info on the website. I've got the link in the video description, so go check it out now. And honestly, if you're hesitating, grab some friends and take the plunge. This is about as good as it's ever gonna get. It is really hard to make friends when moving abroad. And when moving to France, it is pretty hard because people tend to be a little bit more standoffish when you first meet them. Emily, however, has no frackin' problem making friends in this show. She goes to a park, she sits down and has lunch by herself. The very first day, she meets her new expat friend. I'm like, what the hell? Nobody meets friends the first day they're here. Then, French friends. French friends are even harder to have. It's like you've got your expat friends and then you got your French friends. Takes a while to move from here to here. Not for Emily. Emily makes a best French friend as well. And not only that, but she meets her French friend while some nasty florist woman is being rude to her. Has anybody ever rescued you when someone was being rude to you in Paris? I have lived here for 7 years and I've never seen that. And let me tell you, it took me 2 years, to make one French friend. If we wanted this to be realistic, Emily shouldn't have had one single frackin' friend the entire series. Not one, honey. So I already touched on this in the intro, but this whole idea that Emily arrives at the office and it's 8:30 and the door is locked. And it's locked until 10:30 because the office doesn't even open till 10:30 and because there's absolutely no other employees that come before 10:30. Is such an exaggeration. Yes, the French tend to start later than Americans. I would say most people in Paris start work around 9 or 9:30. But yes, the French don't live to work. They work to live, unlike Americans. However, they do work, guys. Like, they go to work. You know, they don't spend the entire day at lunch. The smoking on this show is ridiculous. Everybody's either lighting up a cigarette or skipping a lunch because they'd rather just go and smoke. But the most ridiculous thing I saw was when Emily's boss meets her on the first day of work and he literally just like lights up a cig in front of her face and then is talking and blowing smoke out as he talks to her. Now, fact, the French do smoke more than Americans. However, next fact, it is 100% illegal to smoke in the office. In any like closed public space, schools, stores, I don't know, public transportation, nobody's really lighting up. And if they are lighting up, they're not blowing smoke into your face. Especially when you're not a smoker, which Emily says like every 2 minutes that she doesn't like smoking. Not cool, guys. The French absolutely tolerate infidelity more than Americans. But the way that they portray it in this show, as if it's very normal for the wife and the mistress to be best friends, or for everybody in the office to know that somebody's sleeping with a married man, and then for that same married man to send lingerie to the office to another girl he's interested in. What the fuck? The French are more accepting that somebody could happen to slip up or that you could be in love with 2 women. But the French aren't psychotic. They're not all running to be best friends with their husband's mistresses. Nor are they necessarily going to go meet somebody their husband's interested in and then decide whether or not they approve and then maybe go and tell her whether or not they approve. I mean, if that's how your relationship works, more power to you. But that's not a French thing. That's just a personal thing. Come on, Emily. The French are hard sometimes to make friends with. The French can be a bit more standoffish than Americans. The French, who tend to have a little bit of power, like the post office, tend to take themselves on quite the power trip sometimes, and they can be downright rude. However, the French are not downright bullies. And I'm sorry, this entire show portrays Emily's colleagues as absolute assholes. They literally start calling her the Hick. Hello, the Hick. Hello, Miss Hick, to her face, knowing or thinking that she can't understand the word. Not to mention her boss, who just like Sylvie, belittles her and ridicules her throughout the entire show, making fun of everything from the way she talks to the way she dresses to the way she smiles. I mean, nothing gets past this woman. Sure, you might eat lunch quite a few times by yourself when you first start working for a French company. I know from experience. But nobody's humiliating you on a daily basis or like tossing pieces of baguette at your face while you eat. I mean, calm down. The French are maybe a little bit icy, but God, they're not complete bullies. I loved seeing all the outfits that Emily wore. I mean, they were colorful and different, and I mean, not that normally we see that, but still, she was wearing killer outfits. But the stilettos, girl, please. Emily runs around the Tuileries Gardens and cobblestone streets in like 7-inch stilettos in every single scene. If you've never been to the Tuileries Gardens, it's literally full of tiny white rocks that get stuck in between your toes and cover your entire shoes in dust. Then the cobblestones, if you make one wrong step, your tiny stiletto gets caught in between the two cobblestones and then you fall flat on your face. Again, I know this from experience. There is no way that girl was running around like that in stilettos. But Parisians don't wear stilettos. Most of them are in white flat sneakers or flat shoes. And if you happen to be a bit more dressed up, you're in like heeled booties with like big heels. Because tiny heels like this, it's just not compatible if you want to stay alive. Ditch the stilettos for season 2, Emily. Alright guys, so that is a wrap for Emily in Paris and all of the stereotypes that I found obnoxiously exaggerated. So I can't wait to hear what everyone thought in the comments below. So leave your comments. I'll make sure to get back to everybody. And I will see you guys all next week. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss any videos.